Ani Bojo, Makadewaa, Waagosh, Indigenous. Today, I'm going to be showing you a clip of my Warframe gameplay. I was talking through it, but none of it actually saved, so I'm just going to do a voiceover as we are talking. And what I wanted to be talking about for today is... Well, before we talk about what I want to talk about, I'm going to let you know what I'm doing in the video. So in this video, I am essentially doing the night wave challenges. There was one for killing Xmas, one's for only using a melee equipped in a mission, another one was to get 500 enemy kills, and the last one was to take out opponents using gas damage. So what I wanted to talk about that has been bugging me for a bit, those videos you see on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram that try and sound like they're deep and spiritual, but they're really just manipulating people in a way, I guess. The type of videos where they say if you're losing friends, it's because your energy is too powerful, or if you couldn't sleep last night, it's because you're in tune with the universe. And people eat it up because it feels nicer to hear that there's meaning behind everyday struggles. But that's the trick. They use common human experiences and sell them back to you as if they're signs of a spiritual awakening. So most of these creators are not healers, they're marketers. They learn what sounds comforting and turn it into content that farms attention, likes, and eventually money. They read a few self-help quotes, blend them with vague energy talk, and suddenly they're gurus. And the crazy thing is, they never offer solutions. They only describe symptoms like feeling tired, feeling lost, losing sleep, having anxiety, all things that literally everyone experiences at some point. It's like as if I said, if you breathe air, you are chosen by the universe. Sounds cool, but it's quite meaningless. So these messages work because they validate pain without demanding change. They let people believe something powerful is happening to them instead of something they can take control of. If you've had insomnia for weeks, it's easier to believe you're awakening than to accept you might be stressed, dehydrated, or scrolling on your phone till 3 a.m. If you feel disconnected from people, it's easier to believe you've outgrown their vibration than to admit you might just need to talk or reconnect. These creators thrive on that gap, the space between feeling bad and wanting answers. They fill it with mythical bullshit and not medicine. They present themselves as enlightened, calm, and peaceful, but they rarely live what they preach. Behind the calm voice and candlelight setup, most of them are chasing engagement. They study algorithms more than philosophy. They replace research with energy downloads. And they repeat phrases like, the universe is shifting, you're vibrating higher, the chosen ones are waking up, but never explain what that means in any measurable or actionable way. Real wisdom doesn't need to sound magical. Sometimes it's as simple as drink water, go for a walk, clean your room, talk to someone. Practical steps, real effort. That's what growth looks like. They also love using science like charts and data. You'll see graphs about brain waves rising during ascension or Earth's frequency increasing, and none of it is peer reviewed or sourced. Sometimes they'll literally pull out weather charts or random data visualizing and say it's the not sure how to say that word. What's that word I was struggling with? That fancy one? Is that Schumann? The Schumann resonance spiking?
Yeah.
They use visuals that look smart but don't mean anything. It's a form of aesthetic intelligence pretending to be factual through style, like wrapping nonsense in a lab coat.
So, a lot of those words that you think are complex, there's some random dude's last name.
Really?
It's because they're named after the scientist who discovered them. Or somewhat of importance to that study.
Okay. So, way to break it down and to spot these kind of content creators is they use vague language. They never define terms like energy, frequency, or manifestation. They universal symptoms. They describe things everyone experiences like fatigue, anxiety, isolation, and then they call it ascension. Fear mixed with comfort. They say the world is ending, but you're special and protected. That duality keeps you hooked. No real advice. Notice how there's never a next step beyond believe or trust the process. Monetization. Eventually, there's always a link, a course, a crystal, or a donation page. It's a pipeline. First they validate you, then they sell to you. There's nothing wrong with spirituality, finding meaning, connecting to nature, meditating. That's all real and beautiful. But it's not about following someone's TikTok aesthetic. It's about self-reflection and discipline. Real growth feels uncomfortable sometimes. It's admitting you were wrong, learning patience, understanding your emotions, making hard changes. Not every bad day is an energetic message. Sometimes it's just a bad day. Not every sleepless night means you're awakening. Sometimes you just had caffeine too late. And that's okay. There's no need to mystify being human. Because when fake spirituality becomes popular, it replaces real introspection. People stop going to therapy, stop seeing doctors, stop asking tough questions. They treat emotional pain with vibrations instead of actions. And when it doesn't work, they blame themselves. They think, maybe my energy isn't strong enough. Or maybe I didn't manifest hard enough. That's not spirituality. That's emotional manipulation. So, the next time you can't sleep or feel disconnected, don't fall into that trap. You're not broken. You're not out of alignment. You're just human. And that's powerful in its own way. Because being human means you can learn, grow, rest, change direction, and start over. That's more magical than any TikTok crystal reading. So take care of yourself, drink water, stretch, turn off the phone for a while, and when you see one of those, if you feel tired today, your awakening videos, just smile, scroll past, and remember, you don't need someone online to tell you you are real. So that's just been on my head for a while, and couldn't figure out how to length it or make it longer, so I pretty much just like stretched out parts that I found in short clips. So after all that, I can pretty much talk about what I'm doing in the video now, because I remember pretty much everything I was talking about in the video. The first bit I was explaining the challenge, which you remember from the beginning of this video. And here I was talking about one of my favorite loadouts I like using. Specifically Warframe. We'll start with the Warframe, Excalibur Umbra. He is one of my most used and probably favorite, just because because I've been playing Warframe for 7 years and not that many fucking good at it, as you can see, but it wasn't like a consistent. It was like on and off for 7 years, and I never really progressed in the storyline. I just played the main game just because I found it fun. I like repeating and doing missions, grinding resources, and mainly I like collecting the prime parts, so when Katir comes by. So I never really used any other Warframe. I kind of just used the default Excalibur. The only time I would use other Warframes is if I had to level up my mastery rate, or if I wanted to. And it kind of hurt my feelings when I realized I couldn't use Excalibur Prime, because he was pretty much locked behind a pre-order. So I was a little disappointed using regular Excalibur, seeing all these other Prime things. And then I did some of the storyline, unlocked Excalibur Umbra, and I was quite happy. Especially when I got the Skajati, because I've always liked the Nikana weapons, like the normal Nikana and then the Dragon Nikana. They were some of my favorite ones. So for my primary weapon, what I would use with him, it was a mix between the Paris Prime and the Bratton Prime, depending on what mission I was doing. It mainly came down to the Bratton Prime, just because it was a solid rifle. And then when I learned about the upgrade it can have with the Incarnon, it just made me like one bit more happier, made it harder not to use. For my secondary, they're pretty much ninja stars. I think they're called the Haiku Prime, and I just found it funny when you like increase the fire rate on it, to watch him like throw like 100,000 stars in like a second. Mainly why I like that one. And the other one I like using is the Lex Prime, for the same reason I like using the Bratton Prime. It's simple and it has an Incarn form, which essentially turns the Lex Prime into like a shotgun. And there's a certain mod loadout I use, which it's like I forget what it does, but it essentially locks your fire rate to something slow, but it increases the damage by a lot. Plus with the Incarn upgrade, it's kind of insane. For my melee, like I said, I kind of stuck with the Nikanas because his passive bonus makes the sword 10% more effective. Like, I think it does 10% faster and the damage is 10% more if you're using a sword, so I found it kind of a waste if you were to use like a staff, polearm, machete, or any other weapon. And I never really had too much plat, so when I started trading, and then eventually I did buy some plat, I ended up going on a spending spree on unlocking more prime Warframes, just so I could level up and have them in my inventory. And through doing that, I bought the Nikana Prime, which I'm pretty sure I'm using in this video, and it feels really nice. It's a better version of the Skajati and Dragon Nikana. So that's my primary, secondary, melee. Oh, Hate. Hate is another weapon I like too, because of its Incarn form. When you upgrade it, it essentially turns into like the Exalted Blade, which I thought was cool when I first used it. But like I said, because I always use Excalibur Umbra, I find there's no point to use it unless I use a different Warframe. And I don't know if there's a Hate Prime or not. And I feel a ways when I'm not using Prime weapons. especially knowing how many prime weapons, frames, and companions I have. Oh yeah, companions. So the two companions I use, like mostly, is their Panzer Volpophyla, which I named Eggnog. Well, I didn't name it Eggnog, my wife named it Eggnog.
Eggnog.
And the robotic companion, Nautilus Prime, which I'm using in this video. If it's not that, then I'll use one of the Kubraus. I'm pretty sure I have all the Kubraus. I also like the Kavats too. Ooh, one of the cats took a shit. That fucking stinks. And fuck, talking about Kavats and my fucking kitties just shit the spot up. That's fucked up. But yeah, I like
Yeah, you like Kavats? Here's some Kavat shit.
some good. Yeah, it's fucked up. So those are the companions I use. Other Warframes I like as well is like Nova Prime. Her abilities are wicked.
What did Ortis say? They don't so much eat as reloads.
Yeah. And so yeah, Nova Prime for abilities, mainly just for her first ability and her fourth ability. Rarely do I use the second or third. The second one I'm pretty sure is where she shoots the orb. I find by the time it reaches the target's already dead. And the third one is, I think, where you teleport. I might have it switched around because I don't use it as often. But either way, I don't really know how to use them. Another Warframe I like using, another Warframe I used for a long time in between Excalibur and Excalibur Umbra was Wukong. Just the default Wukong. Like I said, when I actually was able to afford some plat, Wukong Prime was one of the first things I got. Just because of his ability to die 3 times on top of the revives you have. And if you carry him with like the Kavat that can die for you, I was able to survive longer. I would equip my weapon with I think it's called Life Strike, where you do a heavy attack and you get a percentage of health back. So I was able to do missions I wasn't actually capable of doing, and I was able to do them, redeeming the rewards and helping me level up. So there's Excalibur, Wukong, Wukong Prime, Nova Prime. One for the visual, once 1999 came out, I was using Nyx Prime, just because I visually liked how the proto version looked like. Not so much, I didn't really know how to use her abilities, so I pretty much spec'd it for shield recharge and health. And I would take it through the, do some of the Hex quest. And pretty much for that, I have other, like I have most Prime. Ooh, another Warframe I've been getting into as well is Atlas Prime. I didn't realize how powerful his first ability was. So I've been taking that into Steel Path and souping him up for just his first ability. I want to see if there's any mods for him that will make it do more damage than it already does. Especially if you have it built for like crits. I was surprised at how fast they stack up. But it's pretty much all I can really think of. I think there's still like, yeah, there's still like 3 more minutes. But there's not much I've really done within the 7 years though. Like only recently have I came close to completing all the quests. Like I completed most of the main quest. There's like, I think Sand of Inaros, and there's another one where I have to find these plants, I think, at a certain time. It honestly, I don't have the discipline to fucking do that. I like don't have the patience or anything for that. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, and I mainly only rank up my master rank is because I have like a trophy collection in my orbiter. I want to reset the whole orbiter and reset it all back up differently. But I don't know if there's an actual button to reset everything, or if I have to individually take everything down. Because if I have to do that, I'm not going to. That just sounds like some bullshit. And I should have definitely planned that out better. I think there was a reason I picked this. Oh yeah. Because it was on Deimos. It was to get the Nightwave challenges. I'm pretty sure I got all 4 of them though. On just this one run. Oh, and I just learned about Archon shards. I've been doing Necrocells with Atlas Prime and Excalibur Umbra. So I have Excalibur. I think 2 of them are to increase his parkour velocity so I can get the fuck away from enemies. And then the other 3 are to regenerate his health. I also think I replaced his second ability with Hildren's ability, which I think siphons shields from people or something, or knocks their shield off. I forget what it does. I was trying to make it so I would be able to survive longer with him, but I'm not sure if that worked or not. And for my Atlas Prime, I've been trying to get Crimson Archon shards so I can fucking make his ability strength stronger. But I think that's pretty much it for this video. Chimi Guach and Bama P. And thanks for watching. Surprised if you made it this far. Peace the fuck out.